Hi, I'm Mark Sullivan. After the publication of Beneath the Scarlet Sky, people told me I'd never find another untold story like it. But I really thought I would, and sure enough, stories started coming out of the woodwork at me, so many that I had to develop a criteria for what I was looking for. And I went back and thought about Beneath the Scarlet Sky, and what I found was that the story was inherently moving, inspiring, healing to some readers, and transformative to others. So those became my criteria. It had to be moving. It had to be inspiring. It had to be healing to some readers and transformative to others. And about 5 months after the publication of Beneath the Scarlet Sky, I heard a story in my own hometown about these people, the Martells, and what they had gone through to come to America. A couple days later, I was at Bill Martell's house, and I realized I couldn't be 300 yards from where I first heard the story of Pinolella and Beneath the Scarlet Sky. So that discussion with Bill Martell turned into a 3-year experience where I went and researched how this young family of ethnic Germans who'd been living in Ukraine had to run in the last year of World War II from the Soviets under the protection of the Nazis. I had never heard a story like it, and I knew within about an hour of talking to Bill that I was going to tell it. The story takes you into the life of Emil and Adeline Martell and their 2 sons, Will and Walt, as they flee across Europe, being chased by the Soviet Red Army, and they're in a Conestoga wagon of sorts, pulled by 2 horses with all their possessions there. Sooner or later, they have to come to face what the Nazis and why the Nazis are protecting them from. And I think you'll love the book. One of the interesting things I always find about going into a new culture, in this case, ethnic Germans, was that they always have food that they love and they cherish. In this case, Adeline was a cook. She cooked for Russian officers, and everybody who ever knew her talked about, the various foods that she would make for them, including apple strudel, which I guess is a tried and true tradition with Amazon. So they asked me if I would read a small section of when Adeline is working for the Soviet officers, and she has to go into Berlin about 5 months after the end of the war, 6 months after the end of the war, and she's buying ingredients, and she happens to find strudel while she goes. By the time she reached the central station, Adeline knew she wasn't being punished in God's name. She was being punished in communism's name, in Joseph Stalin's name, just as she had been punished in his name when they took her father away nearly 2 decades before. Sent to the east, she thought, thrown to the wind and the wolves, never to be seen again, like Emil. Adeline felt something shift inside and realized sadly that she didn't have the emotional strength to put a question mark on that last thought. After drinking tea and eating strudel from one of the few vendors already open in the Berlin Central Station, she set off through the streets toward the officers' commissary, suddenly missing her mother, Malia, and her brother, William. What's become of them? She thought. Where are they? In that little town where I left them? Will I ever see or hear from them again? Or are they gone from my life, never to be seen again? Like, Adeline stopped herself from using her husband's name, but she saw Emil clearly in her mind then, as he was the last time she'd seen him, being led away by the soldiers and bellowing at her to go as far west as she could, and he'd find her. Try as she might, she could not stop herself from bursting into tears. That was probably the last time she'd ever see him. I wanted to thank all the sub-agents who are representing my Amazon books and trying to bring them around the world. I deeply appreciate it, and I appreciate your time. Have a great day.